What is up, my bodyweight warriors, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking all about the push-up, one of my favorite exercises. I think a severely underrated exercise. It's great, beginners all use it, we probably all use it at some point in our lives, but quickly we're eager to move on to some more difficult, more complex variations. However, I think the push-up has some value at pretty much every single level in one degree or another if you know how to adjust it and make it difficult for you. So that's what we're going to go over in today's video. I'm not going to cover those sort of like crazy street workout, calisthenics, jumping, moving around, plyometric push-ups. In my opinion, these look fancy, but they're just for show. They're not great for like actual training when we're thinking about, I want to get strong and I want to improve my performance so I can do cool things. We just want our training to be solid, consistent, and progressively overloading. That stuff doesn't tend to have that. Right, so let's jump into the 6 ways in which you can make your push-ups harder. Number one, and probably the most important thing that's going to be present in all of the other recommendations, is we can increase the quality of our reps by increasing or lengthening the tempo. Somebody who says they can do 20, 30, 40, 50 push-ups or whatever and claims that the push-up is too easy, they're probably doing push-ups that look like this. Which is fine, you know, that's how you get lots of reps in. But if we want to use this exercise to build strength in a crucial pattern, then we want to do things with a little bit more care and consideration. So we want to use a slower tempo, specifically a slower negative eccentric contraction and a nice powerful explosive concentric contraction. Something like a 3-0-x-0 tempo if we're going by Poliquin standards, which means 3 seconds down to the bottom and a nice powerful explosive concentric back up to the top. This way is going to dramatically decrease the amount of push-ups that you can do. It's also going to ensure that we have a decent time under tension on each rep. We can focus on controlling the movement, what muscles are actually working, help to improve our intermuscular coordination, which makes us stronger. All lots of good stuff for both strength and muscle mass. I would definitely start there first. A last minute recommendation by Emmett Lewis, who I'm here with in Iceland, is to add a 10 to 30 second pause at the bottom of each rep for some extra time under tension and also suffering. The second way we can make push-ups harder is we can increase the range of motion. So when we do a push-up on the floor, we're limited by the floor as to how far our chest can move. What we can do is we can raise the hands on some yoga blocks or some parallettes, and this will allow us to get a deeper range of motion for the movement. This is going to do 2 things. It's going to increase the range of motion, which is going to make the exercise harder to perform because there's strength requirement through a greater range. And number 2, it's also going to help improve the flexibility of our shoulders as well in extension. This is when our shoulder goes behind us. Focusing on letting our chest go deeper whilst keeping the shoulders back and in good position is going to make the exercise harder, and it's also going to have that nice mobility element as well to keep the shoulders nice and healthy. The point number 3, and probably my favorite way of making push-ups harder, is through the use of planche lean push-ups. Now this one here, in a normal push-up position, we would have the shoulder directly over the hand during our push-up. All we're going to do here is lean the shoulder a little bit further forward and then do the same push-up motion. But this time, instead, we're going to focus on trying to bring the hands back towards more of our mid and hip line. This is going to dramatically increase the difficulty of the push-up, even just those centimeter by centimeter increase in lean. The most important thing, however, with this exercise is that we maintain the lean throughout. So adding some form of task to the exercise is crucial. So I personally like to add a yoga block to the floor. Think about as you lower down, you're going to try and touch your chest to that yoga block. And as this becomes easy, you move your hands further back from the yoga block. This will make it harder. Fitness FAQs has a version in which it uses the wall, and you lean to a point in which you touch the wall, and then you try to maintain that contact with your head on the wall throughout the range of motion. Both work fine. It's a great way of adding some form of measurable amount to this exercise. Point number 4, we can just start using one arm to make our exercise harder. The most obvious variation of this would be a one-arm push-up, but I don't think it's actually great on normal day-to-day strength training. Something that I think would be a better option would be an archer push-up. The archer push-up uses a straight assisted arm to perform the exercise. You keep one arm nice and tucked, keeping the elbow in, and you lock the other arm. And what this does is it has a benefit of almost like doing a chest fly with one arm and a push-up with the other arm. So we get to condition the straight arm in straight arm strength, so it helps our elbow strength for things like perhaps the planche and the back lever, and then we get to focus more on the strength of pushing with our working arm. Just a note, when you're doing an archer push-up, it's always best to perform all the reps on one side first, then move to the other side. Don't alternate back and forth because you kind of just end up resting between sides. Point number 5, we have The rings. The rings are a great way to make your push-ups harder because we get to bring in that instability element. Now this element is going to make it harder for us to apply force, so it's going to make it harder in that regard. And it's also going to do is, it's because the rings can now move, we can adjust our hand width, which means we can focus more on the abduction of the arms, which is this squeezing motion. So we get more chest contraction when we do a ring push-up, for example. So this can mean for strength and also muscle mass, doing ring push-ups can be beneficial. Plus, if you want to learn the rings at some point in the near future, doing push-ups is quite a stable way to start introducing some above the rings ring stability exercises. If you can't quite do ring dips yet, do a lot of ring push-ups, the ring dips will feel a lot easier. The sixth and final way that we can make push-ups harder is simply by adding some weight. Weighted push-ups are one of my favorite exercises. I think they're unbelievably valuable. All you have to do is grab a weight, chuck it on your back and start doing some reps. 10, 15, 20, 25 plus kilos is great. Throw it on, do some reps. This exercise is great just because you can straight up overload the movement just like you can with pull-ups or dips. Adding weight is a really great option to push-ups. But that has basically been it for today, guys. All of those 6 ways that you can make push-ups harder. Number 1, we have making sure you have the quality and tempo down first. Number 2, we can increase the range of motion that we're using. Number 3, we can add a planche lean to it to make the exercise harder. Number 4, we can focus on just conditioning the one arm. Number 5, we have some instability with the rings. And number 6, the obvious one, adding some weight to the exercise. But that has basically been it for this week, guys. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do, hit that thumbs up button and support the channel. If you just want to ask any questions about today's video, you can always do so in the comment section down below. I would love to hear your questions on this, or if you have any requests for future videos, tutorials, whatever it may be. Right next to that comment section is also the subscribe button if you want to join the Bodyweight Warrior tribe for more calisthenics, flexibility, handstands, all sorts of advice on this channel. But that has basically been it for this week, guys. I'll catch you in the next episode. Have a strong week and peace.